Hello, my name is Sean Kenny, and this is my presentation on special issues in the criminal justice system. When most of us think about the criminal justice system, we think about crimes being committed, but do we ever think about the special circumstances revolving some of these cases? For many cases, there are special underlying circumstances that result in criminal behavior, and a few of these special circumstances would be mental health issues, drug addiction, and juvenile proceedings. Individuals with mental health disorders struggle to live life by the rules of society and are more prone to criminal behavior. Individuals that struggle from drug addiction sometimes lack the help that they need to discover a different, healthier way of life. And finally, the approach to juvenile proceedings should focus on the best interest of the child and help the children become better adults. Let's start by looking at the growing epidemic in criminal justice through the mental health patients that it sees. The first of the three special issues in the criminal justice are individuals who have a history of mental health problems. There is a rising epidemic of mental health issues in the criminal justice system today. As stated by the National Conference of State Legislators and in accordance with the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 64% of jail inmates have a mental health problem. Nearly 15% of men and 30% of women who go to jail have a serious mental health issue. With the rise of mental illness, the criminal justice system must approach mental health issues appropriately to ensure the rehabilitation of the offender while still assessing the criminal behavior that the defendant has committed. One of the primary concerns in this is that once released, many of the individuals who suffer from mental health illness no longer have access to health benefits that would provide them with the mental health that they'll continually need. Jailing mental health patients causes problems for law enforcement and correction officers, and if not addressed, will continue to affect other first responders such as police, medical personnel, firefighters, and emergency rooms. By putting these individuals in jail, we only lock away the problem, but we are not solving the issue, creating a larger issue such as mental illness outbreaks while incarcerated. Also, by jailing offenders with serious mental issues, we minimize their opportunity for a healthy life in the future. Carolyn Zieseman states in her article, Incarcerated with Mental Illness, How to Reduce the Number of People with Mental Issues in Prison, that Judge Leifman said our country has lost considerable ground over the past 30 years in a way of treating people with serious mental illness. Instead of deinstitutionalizing people, we have transferred responsibility to the criminal justice system. We must come full circle, he admits. The result of jailing offenders with mental health issue only provides a cosmetic repair to the underlying issue, and after an individual serves their sentence, they will be right back in the same place where they began. Two solutions to the problem of helping those with mental illness would be to approach the individual's criminality through diversion programs that address their mental health issue, or provide them with the support that would help them maintain their mental health after incarceration is completed. Diversion programs can approach a person with mental health issues while still maintaining a good approach to the safety of the public. The Colorado Judicial Branch has assigned a mental health court for proceedings that involve individuals who have mental health issues. According to the Colorado Judicial Branch, the court aims to improve the court system ability to identify, assess, evaluate, and monitor offenders with mental illness, create effective linkages between the criminal mental health systems, and improve public safety by ensuring that participants receive a high quality of community-based services. This would be the most effective method that provides the broadest outlook to helping criminals with mental health issues while still protecting the public from their behaviors. The second method that could potentially help individuals with mental health issues is providing individuals with mental health programs after incarceration has ended. By giving these individuals an opportunity to continue to assess their mental health needs after incarceration, we allow them to become more mentally stable in society. Programs that give mental health patients access to medication after incarceration cost less than having to incarcerate individuals in the future. We help society by bringing the mentally ill prepared back into society slowly. Weaning them back in will help them focus on their mental health issues while protecting society. The problem facing this issue, of course, is the cost and the commitment that would have to come from the public. Like mental health issues, another growing epidemic in the criminal justice community are drug addictions and the criminal behavior from these individuals. According to the Center of Prisoner Health and Human Rights, approximately half of the prison and jail inmates meet DSM-IV criteria for substance abuse or dependence, and significant percentages of state and federal prisoners committed the act they are incarcerated for while under the influence of drugs. Drugs play a big role in criminal activity today. 63% to 83% of individuals incarcerated today had drugs or alcohol in their system when they committed the crime that got them arrested. Rehabilitation is a must for individuals addicted to drugs to help them from recommitting crimes and to help with their substance abuse problem. With half of the inmate population partaking in drug use, it's important for systems to address the drug use while inmates are incarcerated or on parole or probation. Typically, conservative politicians will opt for a strict program of anti-drug law enforcement and costly drug sentences with the goal of removing dealers from the streets, disrupting supply lines, and eliminating sources of supply. However, strict laws have shown little improvement in the drug use population as a whole, and over the past decade, the illicit drug use statistics have shown to be consistent. With so many drug addiction in our jailing system, two of the different types of focuses that we can place the system would be provide more support to the drug system and taking a more rehabilitative approach in sentencing. States such as Colorado that enforce drug court programs have seen a 7.5% decrease in recidivism. People are less likely to commit a crime while participating in drug court programs while still assessing their need for drug crime through strict monitoring and punishments during the program. There is an understanding that drug court is an opportunity for growth and development, and any violation of the program can send you back to jail. Drug court provides counseling services for individuals to talk about their addictions with a counselor or in a group setting. We can also take a more rehabilitative approach by helping drug addicts receive the attention that they need so they don't commit future crimes. One of the more rehabilitative approaches that we can give drug addiction criminals is a mandatory sentence in drug or alcohol rehabilitation. Letting them go to rehab instead of going to jail may cost more, but with each individual that takes the treatment and uses it, the outcome ends up costing less over time because they don't come back to the court proceedings. We could also focus on an outpatient treatment versus inpatient, such as work release programs. Individuals are monitored in these programs heavily while still maintaining their freedoms of going to work every day, creating healthy habits that they can use when they're released. Now that we've taken a look at the special issues of mental health and drug addiction, let's begin to take a look at the special issue of juvenile proceedings. Juvenile proceedings are an important issue in criminal justice today because they focus on the juvenile being rehabilitated for a healthy future. When it comes to juvenile proceedings, we must consider the life of the child prior to the court proceeding, giving the child special circumstances in their proceeding. A child who grew up in a home where there was a lot of abuse grew up thinking violence was okay when it wasn't. Another child growing up in a drug-related situation would believe that drugs were a proper choice as they grew up. Rachel Lepari states in her article that based on the data from the combined 2009 to 2014 national surveys on drug use and health, about 1 in 8 children, 8.7 million approximately, aged 17 or younger lived in a household with at least one parent who had past year substance use disorder, SUD, and SUDs can characterized by the recurrent use of alcohol or other drugs that result in significant impairment. With so many children growing up in an environment, ensuring that we have the best interest of the child in mind is the best approach to helping the child begin to lead a more successful life. One of the ways we'd be able to approach the juvenile process is to ensure that when processing through court proceedings, we take a reformative approach for the child. A reformative approach for juveniles would include accountability without charging with a crime, confinement only when necessary, family engagement, drug or alcohol rehabilitation, and outpatient proceedings and monitoring. By providing help to the juvenile in need, we give them a chance to regain their societal acceptance. They can get help with their struggles without locking them away or discouraging their future with criminal charges. We could also provide proceedings that focus on deferring the charges upon completion of certain programs. This gives the children the ability to grow without facing the problems that criminal charges can cause later in their lives. An example would be a rehabilitation program that includes substance monitoring, community service, probation, and counseling services. This will give the child something to work toward without hurting their chances for a bright future. As we've seen, special issues such as mental health, drug addiction, and juvenile proceedings are important to the success of a criminal justice department. All of these situations need to be addressed with a focus on rehabilitative services that focuses on the underlying issue causing criminality. Mental health needs to be addressed. If we only focus on locking away the mentally ill, we can expect the same behavior when they leave the jail. Drug addiction should have a rehabilitative approach through drug court programs or rehabilitative services such as substance rehab. Giving drug addicts a chance to change their thinking has shown to help them overcome in their drug addictions, which in turn lowers their participation in criminal behavior. And finally, juvenile proceedings need to focus on the best efforts of the child while still maintaining an appropriate response to the safety of society. Locking away minors should be the last resort, and focus should be on the best interest of the child through rehabilitative services. Thank you very much. This is my presentation for criminal justice and special issues. Have a great day.